Chris probably took away about 90% of what I can talk about. I actually specifically came down here to discuss the Council on Affordable Housing, COA, and to, not to whine about Caesar, but to figure out how to bury it. And as far as COA is concerned, everyone knows, I mean literally, every elected official I've met through the state is complaining about COA. They know what it means. They know what it means in terms of additional infrastructure. They know what it means in terms of overdevelopment. They know what it means in terms of cost to the taxpayers. That's great. We know what the problem is. How do you kill this sucker? Well, I have introduced a bill to abolish COA, but I got to tell you, I think that some of the legislative leadership, the way our leadership works, is that the Speaker of the Assembly decides the agenda. So if he likes COA, my bill is not going to get hurt, but the bill is there. That's an important thing that we've done. I like to think about what could happen with the next governor, whether it's me or someone else. I would hope that the next governor, as probably close to his first thing, would simply impound the funds that operate the Council on Affordable Housing. Shut it down. Put it out of business. And he can do that by an executive order. Another strategy that I think will work is real simple. Where did COA come from? The Mount Laurel decision. Where did the Mount Laurel decision come from? The Supreme Court. Let's take the shortest route from point A to point B. If we want to get rid of COA on a permanent basis, we need to change the Supreme Court. And fortunately, the next governor of the state is going to get to appoint 4 Supreme Court justices. And for those who are not familiar with the New Jersey Supreme Court, thank God there are only 7 of them. So 4 out of 7 will do it, folks. And not only will it do it with respect to COA, it'll also do it with respect to the Abbots. And we will finally have a court that steps back from trying to set policy on school funding and leaves it to elected officials where it belongs. A large part of my running for governor is dedicated to the principle that the state for too long has paid attention to about 15% of our population, the inner cities. 85% of our population, of our people, of our taxpayers, live in the suburbs and live in the rural areas of this state. Isn't it time that they got their shake? We have got to change the state's direction. We've got to change the state's court. We've got to change the state's financing. Or quite literally, we will be the first state in modern American history to go belly up financially. And for a long time, a lot of us have been saying that the state's in trouble. And a lot of people went, pooh-pooh. Yeah, we always hear that, but nothing ever happens. Then came Gloucogop, AIG, Lehman Brothers, Bear Stearns, all household names many of us have known on Wall Street for all these years. Merrill Lynch, they're all gone, every last one. And it can happen to New Jersey. Believe me, it can happen to New Jersey. If we don't straighten out the 3 major things we've got, the debt, the unfunded pensions, which have just gotten worse, and the health care benefits for retirees. Trust me, there's no way this state can survive without going bankrupt. John Corzine may be able to afford to write a check for $20 million to run for governor. I assure you, however, New Jersey cannot afford John Corzine's governor. So, since the governor has the right to direct how the money gets spent, the governor can in effect say, guess what, Mr. Treasurer, I don't want that money. Leave it in the Treasury. I'm not going to spend it. And that's how you shut down COA. That's how you shut down the Highlands. You shut down all the stuff that isn't really necessary. A lot of things, Ronald Reagan was great. He had all kinds of great expressions. And one of his expressions was that a government agency is the closest thing to immortality we're ever going to see. These things take on a life of their own. And once they're created, nobody seems to pay attention. They just get new revenues every year, new appropriations. I'm saying that's not good enough. And I'll tell you, if I may, I'll expand on it, because there are 3 real things we have to do. We have to take certain immediate actions to cut spending. I have a list of 7. And the list of 7 is about 1/3 of $1 billion every year that will cut off the budget. Actually, 2 of them account for $250 million, right? Second thing we need to do. 3 years ago, I participated in a special session of the legislature, and we came up with a bunch of good ideas and recommendations, all ignored. I want to revive those. Third piece, long term. You take the entire state program, and you start peeling the onion piece by piece. My own choice is to do the newest ones first, on the theory that it's always easy to get rid of spending that's not too embedded. And you basically ask yourself a question: is this a core public responsibility? My classic is you have someone who's disabled, severely disabled. Obviously, that's a core public responsibility. We don't walk away from those things. If it's not, then we got to ask ourselves, can we afford to be doing this? So that's the specific way I plan to attack the excess spending that New Jersey is doing. Because if we don't, we're going to go bankrupt. We're like a train going 120 miles an hour, and we're about to. Thank you so much for everything you've done.